What's going on, everybody? Um, it's a rough time. It's a rough time out there. I know. I've been, watching everybody, and it seems like there's a lot of people out there on the streets on recruiting duty that are having a hard time. Um, you know, January, February. These can be difficult seasons if if you don't if you don't know if you didn't plant the seeds that you needed to plant to reap in this season or in this harvest to reap in the season, you know what I mean? um then you could be potentially having a hard time. But what I'll say is, um y- that that can be redeemed if you don't forget about stewardship. Stewardship is one of those things that I feel like is really, it gets forgotten about. It gets forgotten about by a lot of people, especially on this duty, especially when you start to feel the pressure. When it's like the 20th of the month, and you got next week to make something happen, and that's then you're out of time. But you know, I'll say the main thing to keep present is that you're not here for you; you're here for other people. And when you start to think about it that way, it takes the focus off of you and off of the fact that you don't have any results, and it gets you in a place mentally where you're able to go out there and produce results for other people, where you have a solution based focus for others, and that's what brings value to the table when you're actually having you know these conversations with people about the Marine Corps, and when you're doing the interview, right? Because now you're looking places where you're looking to discover where the Marine Corps can add value versus looking for what to say to make someone say yes. And so you enter a different frame of mind. Um, you start operating from, you know, servitude, and you're more of in a persuasion frame of mind than in a like convincing frame of mind. And that's super important. A lot of people don't really understand like the difference, but you uh you can't convince anyone to do you can't convince anyone to become a Marine. If they do it, if you're approaching recruiting duty from the angle of I got to convince someone to join, um chances are they had already been persuaded by someone else, and it was already their idea, and you just kind of came along and um drafted up the paperwork for them. There's people that you meet that are like that. And you know the difference. You know the difference when someone's already been previously, I guess you could say, influenced to become a Marine or towards the Marine Corps, and you know the difference between someone whom you've actually provided value for. Because if you start to notice, the people that you actually provide value for are the people that bring you referrals, you know? And it's super crazy. It's like the coolest. I remember I did a podcast session with one of our police one time. Um and it was cool what she shared with me, because she said, you know, I thought that the Marine Corps wasn't for me. Like I'm that type of person that used to say that, this wasn't for me. I would avoid, recruiters at all costs. But when we talked, you helped me see things that I didn't realize before, and you helped me understand. And I'll tell you, like, that's what we're here for, right? Is we're here to help people see things they couldn't see before. So we're here to help people identify blind spots. Um, but we're also here to bring an understanding to people, and a lot of people know about the military, man. Like there's a lot of people who already know what the military can offer because I mean you can Google all that stuff. You know, people don't really need you for information; they need you for insight, man. And if you could get that, if you can operate from that frame of mind, from that perspective, like people don't need me for information; they need me to bring insight. They need me to bring understanding. They need me to help them, paint a picture, um, paint their vision, or see a way through to their dream through this vehicle that is the Marine Corps. Man, that's gonna change. That's gonna change a lot of things. It's gonna change the outcomes of your interviews. And when you help people discover value, um, then it's almost inevitable that they'll say yes. So, um, it's super important that you don't forget that that is that is what you're responsible for that out here. You have that ability to influence people in that regard. And when you miss the mark on that, man, um, things don't go very well. When you miss the mark on that, you start to actually lose out on business instead of um, creating more business for you. Because it's almost like you attract problems. You attract people who aren't even really serious about helping themselves. You know, um, and there's definitely there's definitely things that govern that. Um, but when you are operating from a place where you really want to help people and and you want to serve others, people can feel that, and it's like, okay, well, I'm looking for help, and he seems like he wants to help me, and he seems like he can help me because I know two or three other people that he's helped before. Well, now you have credibility, and you have a foundation of trust through mutual relationships that has been built, and so it really helps, not only that, but you have a skill set now. You have a skill set that many people don't really have the opportunity to develop. The skill set of communication, um, persuasion, selling, the skill set of influence, and I would say there's repercussions from using it well and using it with good intentions. There's also repercussions with using it with bad intentions. Um, and the weird thing is that the benefits from using it with bad intentions come very quickly, and the consequences take time to come to you, which is why it's deceptive, right? Which is why people will use that method because it works. It works very quickly, and they don't feel the pain until later. It's almost like when you drink alcohol, right? Like it feels really good in the moment, and you don't feel the hangover until the next morning or whatever. Um, but doing it the right way, it takes time. It takes time to build trust. It takes time to build relationships. It takes time to deliver the value that people need because there's a process of discovery. There's a process to building a relationship. Um, but once you start to develop a good foundation, um, you know, things start to compound and you see the results. It takes longer for that to bring that to life and to see the fruit from that. But it's it's solid. Once you build it, it's solid. And then there's a way to keep perpetuating that in your favor. And so if you can just focus on helping other people and using your skill set from a good from a heart posture of servitude, and you steward the responsibility and the influence that God has trusted you with well, then you will be rewarded. Uh, And I know that because that's what scripture says. So I'm going to do a whole breakdown of that specific concept in a future video, and just give you some practical steps on how to stay cognizant of that. But I just wanted to come on here and share this because I feel like people are definitely suffering the consequences of using their skill set and influence the wrong way, and now they're starting to see the fruits of that, and they're not very good. So I wanted to put that out there because I don't want you to be misled, especially during these times where you're feeling the pressure, where people feel pressure. Oh man, and I got so much to say about that as well, but I got to keep this short. Um, anyways, I hope this helps, and yeah, you guys stay blessed. See you in the next video.